Facebook, YouTube. Hello, hello. Let me get this right. I'm trying to get this together, y'all. I don't want to lose nothing because I be tripping on every video. Okay, so let me get the energy right, you guys. Come on in. Those who are coming in, just say hello. And just going to kind of cleanse the energy, cleanse myself, ground myself. And then we'll get started, okay? So, yeah. One thing you don't do is eat something right before you're getting ready to do a speech or something, because I do this every time, but yeah, I might hear my stomach belching or something, but so I'm Virgo moon, Virgo Venus, so it's processing. All right. I'll cleanse the energy here. Oh. Oh my goodness. Okay. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Y'all come on in, get comfortable. I hope to not be on too late. I did do I got some requests for readings, okay? And honestly, the nature of the requests for those readings, those needed to be personal, okay? I can't do anything live. I would not like to do any live readings for those particular questions that I did get. But the offer is still open, okay? For those on Facebook, $25 readings. I'll be doing that. Once I get the DMs and the notifications, I'll compile them together. We'll go live and we'll get going. But nonetheless, you guys come on in. Peace, everyone. Welcome back, okay, to the channel, Facebook. For those who are new here, my name is Malik of Malik's Mystical Magic and Intuitive Consultations. Hi, how are you two? And so I am an astrologer, I'm a tarot reader and a numerologist, okay? And on this platform, we're going to break down some cosmic events, you know, in a structured, grounded, and spiritually practical way, okay? So today we are focusing on this Virgo blood moon lunar eclipse, okay? That's going to be at 12 degrees Virgo, occurring March 3rd, 2026 at 7:38 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, okay? So I want to make sure that we all know what this video is about. In addition to that, we'll break down what that means collectively, what that means individually, and then we'll go from there, okay? So welcome, welcome for those of you on YouTube. Thank you. Definitely, if you like what you see, follow, subscribe, share, okay? Hit the notification bell for any time I drop, which I normally drop on any astrological events, such as lunar events and any big shifts. Okay, Facebook, of course, welcome. Okay, welcome, welcome. So both I'm going live on both Facebook and YouTube. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get into this. All right. So with regards to this lunar eclipse. All right, we are in the middle of it. We've already experienced the solar eclipse in Aquarius that was on the I want to say February 17th, or the I want to say February 17th. Yes. So February 17th was the eclipse, okay? This one in particular, and that one occurred during the Aquarius. Okay, now this is a south node lunar eclipse, which means this is not about manifestation. No, this is about release, completion. It's a full moon. Okay, and it's purification. Okay, so in this particular presentation, this live here, we're going to be covering, what a south node lunar eclipse actually means, the Virgo and the opposite of Virgo, which is Pisces, the polar opposite of that. As you guys come in, say hello. Hey, how you doing? I hope you're doing good. Okay. So we're going to discuss that. We're going to discuss the Virgo Pisces axis, okay, because they are the axis that this will be impacted and what it's revealing psychologically. In addition to that, we're going to talk about the degree that this eclipse is occurring, and then the Sabian message, okay? Now, it's unfortunate I don't have the screen split where I could show the Sabian symbol, and I didn't get a chance to print it, but it is a very eerie looking picture, if you will, but I'll describe it in detail. Then we're going to get into the role, of Mercury, because Mercury is the ruling planet. Hey, sis, how you doing? Mercury is the ruling planet for Virgo. Okay, so this is very important here. So we're going to talk about Mercury because Mercury just went retrograde. All right. Then we're going to talk about this Pisces stellium and the nervous system themes because we're dealing with physical and mental axis here. Okay, we're going to talk about the emotional support aspect from Jupiter, as well as the collective tarot message, which is the Nine of Pentacles. Okay, in addition to that, we're going to talk about who is most affected, and then I'll provide a brief preview of the upcoming shift of Uranus into Gemini. That's going to be a doozy, okay? So my goal tonight is to not freak you guys out, okay? It's just to give insight, context, so you can kind of understand, what could potentially be occurring in your life. So that'll kind of leave you grounded and empowered, all right? And not overwhelmed, all right? So with that said, what a South Node lunar eclipse is, okay? It's basically a lunar eclipse happens when the earth moves directly between the sun and the moon, okay, casting a shadow over the moon. So when the moon turns red, which that's I forgot to post something out there about the timing of when the moon turned red. That's why they call it the blood moon. All right. So this is a blood moon. All right. But astrologically speaking, it's more than just a dramatic full moon. Okay. A full moon already represents culmination and emotional, illuminations, a need to release, right? An eclipse amplifies that energy. So it kind of marks a turning point, I'd say. And this particular lunar eclipse is happening on the south node. Okay. Now, if you guys have been following me, I talk about the north node, which is your life's purpose. Okay. The direction in life. And the south node is what we need to be letting go. Okay. Having learned what we needed to learn from it, and then use those, tools and skills and that knowledge gained, and then pivot towards your North Node. Well, with this being the South Node, there is something that will be released, okay? And so with the nodes here, the North and the South nodes, they're not planets. They are actually karmic points, okay? Mathematical points, where the moon's orbit intersects the sun's path. All right. So the North Node, of course, represents the future direction, the growth. The South Node represents the past, the old habits, comfort zones, karmic patterns. All right. So when we have a lunar eclipse that happens near a south node, it signals release. Simple as that. It's not a punishment. It is the universe removing something, or, allowing something to be released because it doesn't serve its purpose anymore. Okay, so we'll get more into how to find out how this impacts you. Now, what South Node eclipses do, they remove what has completed its purpose. They bring awareness, to patterns that are outdated, I'd say. In addition to that, sometimes they can expose what we've been kind of clinging to out of habit. All right. So I want us to know that the eclipse energy, we're already in the middle of it, okay? Having had the solar eclipse in Aquarius, they come in tandem, so we're in the middle of it. Now we're going to have the lunar eclipse in Virgo. So the eclipse energy is not just one day. We may feel this literally 2 weeks before, maybe up to 6 weeks before, okay, an eclipse, the day of, and potentially up to 6 weeks after, because eclipses closes chapters. Okay, so that's very important that we know that. Now, when we talk about where this eclipse is occurring, the Virgo Pisces axis, okay, that's the spiritual axis that's involved in this. And so with this moon that's going to be at 12 degrees 55 minutes, 53, it just depends. But 55 minutes, okay, right before it gets to 13 degrees. It's going to be 12 degrees, 55 minutes in Virgo. All right. And so the sun is going to be opposite of that, directly opposite of that at 12 degrees Pisces. Okay. So whenever we have that opposition, we are actually being asked to integrate two forms, not choose one over the other. Okay. So we have the moon in Virgo, the sun is in Pisces. All right. So Virgo and Pisces are opposite signs, but they are deeply connected, okay? They are really the axis of healing. You have the Virgo, okay? And Virgo is, I would call, sacred order, okay? Virgo is not just about routines and work. Virgo it governs the body as a temple. It is discernment, knowing what belongs and what does not. It's also purification, if I hadn't said that. Uh, so when Virgo is unbalanced, it tries to control life through correction. Okay. It tries to fix what feels unstable. And it tries to manage fear by perfecting the details. Okay. So as a Virgo moon and a Virgo Venus, I'm very particular about details, and I have to really let go sometimes because I like things to be in order in some areas of my life. Now, you also have a Virgo in your natal chart somewhere, and that area is where you kind of embody this energy. Now, your Pisces, which is going to be opposite, that's where the sun is. It's Pisces season. That is really the surrender, okay? Pisces is not just emotion, water, okay? It is spiritual surrender. It dissolves ego boundaries. It asks for faith as well, okay? But when Pisces is in balance, it escapes, it numbs, it drifts. So this eclipse is not asking you to stop being responsible. This eclipse is asking you to stop gripping so tightly, okay? Because Virgo wants to purify through effort. Pisces wants to purify through surrender, all right? So when we go further, because I want y'all to let that sit, When you look at that, Virgo wants to purify through effort, okay? Pisces wants to purify through surrender. Now, with this South Node release, because this moon is conjunct South Node right there on the South Node in Virgo, okay? Because this is a South Node eclipse in Virgo, the karmic release is happening in the realm of maybe over-analyzing, self-criticism, nervous system tension, anxiety, over effort, overdoing, overexerting, hypervigilance, And spiritually, this is a detox of control. So if you've been really feeling fatigued, mentally exhausted or emotionally overwhelmed, that's not random. That's this axis speaking, okay? So the spiritual question I would say of this eclipse is, can you trust without micromanaging? Can you rest without guilt? Can you allow life to unfold without constantly adjusting it? Ask yourself those questions. And those are just a few, of these Virgo type questions, right? So with this being 12 degrees Virgo, let's break down the degree and the Sabian symbol, okay? Because the moon is at 12 degrees and 50, I'm going to say 53, okay? Just to be on the safe side, 53 of Virgo. And so, and I want to, okay, so I'll get to the chart in a minute. So we're going to look at the degree and the Sabian symbol. When we do Sabian symbol, we go up. So if it's a 12 degrees, we're going to go to 13 degrees of Virgo, okay, as the Sabian symbol. And the Sabian symbol for this degree, 13 degrees of Virgo, is a powerful statesman overcome a state of political hysteria. I'm going to say that again, okay? The particular degree, which is 13 degrees of Virgo, the Sabian symbol. Do your research if you need. A powerful statesman overcomes a state of political hysteria. Okay? So this is this is not literal politics, although one may argue, okay? But Sabian symbols speak in archetypes, okay? So when we break down this particular archetype, it is literally a man sitting in a chair with a American flag behind him, and he looked like he is about to get electrocuted, although there are no tools connected to him, but you can just tell that he is shot, mentally shot, okay? It's a very grim type of picture this Sabian symbol is, but it's really about maturity, leadership, composure, okay? The ability to govern calmly in moments of stability. In addition to that, political hysteria represents collective panic, okay? I think we all understand a little bit of what that's about, okay? Overreaction, emotional contagion, chaos spreading quickly, okay? So we really got to be careful because this eclipse is not about governments, okay? What I'm talking on you, I could go world events, but I do that world event on my private level. I will say I'm not getting ready to talk about government system, okay? It's about the internal government as well. Because first it happens individually, happens collectively. And so we just kind of bringing that back in because I ain't trying to get out there, okay? So Virgo rules mental organization, all right? Pattern recognition, anxiety loops, the nervous system, okay? And the body stress response. So when Virgo is imbalanced, it spirals into internal hysteria, all right? So that could look like overthinking, overanalyzing, just trying to control the outcomes. So the meaning of this Sabian symbol, when you look at that picture, okay, if you get a chance to, I'm going to try to post it, especially in the comments for Facebook. All right. Hey, cuz, how you doing, cuz? I'm going to try to post it, but this eclipse, this symbol, 13 degrees of Virgo, okay, is really telling us that this eclipse is about really restoring calm authority within yourself. It is about stepping out of reactive thinking and into composed awareness. It's about emotional maturity that's overriding panic, okay, energy. Because spiritually, this is nervous system sovereignty, and you're being asked to govern your inner world instead of reacting to it, okay? So the message of this degree, which is 13 degrees of Virgo, the powerful statements, the powerful statement, okay, it's a man sitting in a chair, he's bald, he has tattoos over his head, look like he's about to get mentally electrocuted of some sort, but you could tell he's mentally fried. So it's a real good depiction of the overanalyzing, the hypervigilance, everything I've described. This image embodies that. So this man isn't, even though the view of it looks that way, he's not frantic, okay? He doesn't react to every stimulus. He stabilizes the environment by stabilizing himself. And that is really what this Virgo eclipse is asking of us, okay? So with that said, I want to look at the ruling planet for Virgo, which is Mercury. Mercury just went retrograde in Pisces, okay? And so this is really, every sign has a ruling planet, okay? And so for Virgo and Gemini, Mercury is the planet of communication, thought processes, okay, transportation, travel, movement. But nonetheless, with Virgo being ruled by Mercury, that's something I want to think about, because whenever something major happens in Virgo, we must look at, the ruling planet to kind of understand how it will unfold. So with Mercury being in retrograde in Pisces, let's think about that. That matters because it's the thought patterns, it's the communication, it's the perception, it's the memory, it's the mental processing, it's the nervous system. You know what I'm saying? When we think about it individually, collectively, it could mean transportation, it could mean, travel, things of that nature. But Virgo depends on Mercury to function clearly, right? Okay. But Mercury is in Pisces. And Pisces is really not Mercury's strongest placement here, okay? Mercury likes facts. Pisces speaks in feelings, okay? Mercury likes clarity. Pisces dissolves boundaries. Mercury likes precision. Pisces blurs the lines. Now you add a retrograde on that. Okay, retrograde means review, reflection, reprocess, revisit old thoughts, old conversations, old emotional memories. Okay, so we got a doozy here. So that means the ruler of this eclipse is not moving forward, it's looking backwards, it's in retrograde. Okay, so this Virgo South Node eclipse is not asking us to fix something externally. Okay, it is asking us to reevaluate the way we think, to detox perception, okay? To slow your mental place, your mental space, your mental pace, okay? Slow down. Then we have Mercury conjunct Venus in Pisces. Let me show y'all this. Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. This is how I'm doing it. I'm new to the channel, okay? But nonetheless, this is the chart, okay? So basically, I'm going to keep it real simple here. So we have the moon. Moon is right here. This is Pisces. The moon is right here, okay? So the moon is opposing the sun right here. And so the moon has the south node in Virgo. The sun has the north node in Pisces. So the sun is in Pisces, north node is in Pisces. Okay? So when we're looking at Mercury conjunct Venus, that's Mercury is in retrograde in Pisces. Okay? It's conjunct Venus in Pisces. All right? Then we got Saturn and Neptune in Pisces. That's another topic. But nonetheless, I want us to just know that, okay? So with Mercury conjunct Venus and Pisces, okay, this could bring compassion to conversations, emotional truths resurfacing, forgiveness themes, closure in relationships, memory, that is tied to the heart, okay? The most compassionate zodiac is Pisces, all right? So this is why this eclipse may feel emotional. Not only is it a moon, it's a full moon, it's an eclipse moon, okay? So that's already enough emotion right there. And then when we're looking at Mercury and Venus and Pisces, we thinking, we feeling themes of love, beauty, money. It's a little confusion right there, right? So the mind and the heart are intertwined right now, all right? So that's what's going on with that. Now, as far as the nervous system, when Mercury, the ruler of Virgo, okay, is in Pisces and it's retrograde, the nervous system becomes sensitive, okay? So we may be feeling brain fog, all right, fatigue, heightened intuition, revisiting past regrets, okay? Because I want us to know that this eclipse is not punishing us. It literally is slowing us down. Okay. So I would say we can't purify our life if our perception is distorted by anxiety. And with Mercury retrograde in Pisces, that's given us that space to rewire how we think. Take advantage of that, okay? So let's keep going. With regards to this Pisces stellium, and a stellium is 3 or more planets in a house zodiac, all right? So we have multiple planets in, 3 planets in Pisces right now. And that is, I'm going to show, we have the sun in Pisces, and we have North Node in Pisces, and we have Mars is in Pisces. Okay, wait a minute. Yeah. And then we have Mercury retrograde in Pisces, as well as Venus is in Pisces. Okay. So with all of that there, okay, that right there is telling you that this Virgo moon is not standing alone, okay? It's literally opposing a concentration of planets that are in Pisces. So with this concentration of planets here, the sun being there, Mercury retrograde, Venus, Mars at 0 degrees, okay? This is a strong Pisces emphasis. So this means to me that the emotional and the spiritual atmosphere is really saturated right now, okay? So I would say what that feels like is when there's a lot of Pisces energy that's strong, we experience heightened sensitivity, emotional absorption, fatigue, blurred boundaries, compassion overload, psychic awareness, desire to withdraw, all right? And when that much water is opposing a Virgo moon, Earth, which governs the nervous system, the body can feel overwhelmed, all right? So we need to make sure that we are staying grounded physically and mentally, all right? Now, when we have Mars at 0 degrees in Pisces, the energy shifts, okay? Because Mars represents drive, action, physical stamina, and how we assert ourselves. Mars just moved from Aquarius, an air sign, and now it's in a water sign. So in Aquarius, Mars acted intellectually, detached, strategic. Now it's in Pisces, and it's going to be more emotional, indirectly, sometimes passively, because Mars is debilitated in Pisces, okay? So that could feel, I would say, because it just entered into Pisces, I would say we're probably going to have lower energy, less aggression, okay? More internalized frustration, emotional reactions instead of logical ones, motivation coming and going in waves, all right? And this is important for health. Very important for health, okay? Because Virgo rules the body's regulation system, the digestive system, the body, okay? Physical health is important, okay? Now, Pisces is the mental health, the psyche, the intuition. Opposite of that is Virgo, and that's the physical health, okay? So we really, really have to be, cognizant of that, because Pisces rules disillusion. So this eclipse may expose where we've been running on nervous tension instead of true vitality, okay? So that's important to keep a mindset on. So when Mars enters Pisces, action becomes spiritualized. We're not meant to kind of force outcomes right now. We're meant to actually feel them through. All right. Now, I would say that this eclipse is not about pushing harder. with Mars, okay? It's about recalibrating our energy and really kind of recognizing where the exhaustion is, because that is actually a message, a signal, a sign, you know. So let's go to Moon sextile Jupiter. Now, that's purple right here. The moon is sextile in Jupiter in Cancer. The moon, the eclipse in Virgo, is sextile in Jupiter in Cancer. That's the purple line, sextile. Sextile is a helpful aspect, okay? So I would say, you know, it's definitely supportive, but it's going to create an opportunity. It creates flow, but only if you choose it. If you choose to use it, right? So Jupiter in Cancer, okay? We know Jupiter is retrograde, March 11th. It stations, you know, to go direct eventually, shortly after. But it's been in retrograde, Jupiter has, for a few months, right? So Jupiter represents expansion, growth, wisdom. And in Cancer, Jupiter kind of expands that emotional awareness, but it's been inward, okay? But it's amplifying family themes, ancestral memory, emotional protection, the desire for security, nurturing energy, okay? And so this is water supporting earth, all right? Jupiter in Cancer is supporting this Virgo Earth energy, all right? So I would say what this means during this eclipse is why this Virgo moon is releasing old mental patterns. Jupiter in Cancer is kind of reminding us that we are supported, okay? We are not alone, okay? Growth, Jupiter, can happen gently, Cancer, all right? So I would say this aspect really kind of softens the eclipse to some degree. It allows healing to occur, you know, without collapsing. Okay. It can also encourage us to lean into that emotional safety, connect with trusted people, you know, process feelings instead of suppressing them. All right. Now, as far as the ancestral energy to it, because we know Cancer is the fourth house, it rules the land, the ancestry, the heritage, the roots, okay, the family, all right? So when we look at that, that could bring some ancestry emotional patterns into awareness. Some of what you're releasing may not even be yours, okay? It may be inherited coping mechanisms, inherited anxiety, inherited self-criticism, all right? This eclipse gives you the opportunity to end that cycle. Now, release doesn't mean loss. It means growth through maturity. We have to understand that these eclipses is not what's getting ready to bad to happen to me. No, they just most high, the universe is removing what isn't serving your purpose anymore. Are you ready to let go of something? Okay, and I'm sure we have an idea of what that is once we've determined, you know, where it's playing out in our chart. Okay, so I would say with regards to this tarot collective message, the card that is associated with this Virgo card is Nine of Pentacles. Okay, this is my Gilded Royale tarot deck, but of course I love the Hoodoo deck, okay, which is the Nine of Pentacles. Both of them are the Nine of Pentacles. Okay, and if you look, they're two women. All right. Okay, so the Nine of Pentacles represents self-sufficiency, okay, stability, confidence that's built through discipline, financial or energetic independence, standing comfortably in what you've cultivated, right? So when you have Nine of Pentacles here, that means you worked hard for what you have. You don't need nothing. You may want it, but you don't need it, right? Okay. So the deeper meaning, though, it's not about hustle. This is a card of harvest, all right? Because if you go back to the Seven of Pentacles, you planted the seeds, you invested, right? Nine of Pentacles, Eight of Pentacles, you put in that skilled work. Eight of Pentacles, Nine of Pentacles, here you go, right before Ten of Pentacles, okay? So the nine here, I would say this Nine of Pentacles, you already built something, okay? You already learned something. You've already stabilized something, right? So when you put the Virgo and the Nine of Pentacles together, Virgo energy works. Okay. 8 of Pentacles. Like I say, Virgo energy works. It improves, it refines, it analyzes. Okay. But sometimes Virgo forgets to enjoy what has already been perfected. Okay. So the 9 of Pentacles is saying here, you don't need to keep fixing what is already functioning. You don't need to micromanage what is already stable. You don't need to overwork to prove your worth, because this eclipse is going to ask you to stand in your garden, okay, and recognize that that is enough. All right? Okay. Now, as far as the nervous system, when the nervous system is constantly scanning for what's wrong, it can't experience peace. The 9 of Pentacles is peace that is earned, okay? Peace that is embodied. You see how sovereign she is, standing in her garden with her earned harvest that she worked hard for. Okay. I mean, this is no gender here. All right. But nonetheless, peace that really doesn't require constant adjustment. Okay. Now, it's important that we understand the shadow side of this card. Okay. Everything has a shadow side of it. Okay. Now, every archetype, I would say. This shadow side of this card is like hyper independence. Okay. It could also be isolation that is disguised as strength. I'll do it myself type of energy. Emotional self-sufficiency that kind of blocks intimacy. Pride, that's, you don't need anyone. Okay. Now, when Virgo energy becomes excessive, it can turn into, I don't need help. I'll fix it. I'll handle it. Okay. I'll carry it. But sometimes that independence is actually a trauma response. Sometimes it's protection. It's not empowering. Okay. And because this is a South Node eclipse in Virgo, the release may not be external. It may be releasing the belief that you must do everything alone. All right. Now, the healed 9 of Pentacles is confident. All right. They're not closed off. Okay. Confident. All right. Independent, but not isolated. All right. Good, stable, but still open and receptive. All right. So this eclipse is asking you to refine your independence. Don't abandon it. Okay. Soften it. All right. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to look at, before we get into those who is most affected, I want to zoom out briefly because this eclipse is, of course, there's other things going on in the backdrop. So we are in the middle of a larger shift, okay? And I know I've made a video about it before, but definitely we have to be mindful that we are experiencing a very rare experience, with Saturn and Neptune in early Aries. Okay. Hey, babe. And so with Saturn and Neptune, they are in Aries. Okay. Neptune rules Pisces. Saturn used to rule Aquarius. It's the traditional ruler. Now it rules Capricorn. Okay. But they're sitting at early degrees of Aries. So that combination begins dissolving old identity structures and rebuilding new ones. Okay. So the Virgo eclipse is going to really, allow us to clear our nervous system, release outdated control patterns, and then the identity shift accelerates. Okay. So that is Neptune and Saturn, and I spoke in depth about that in the solar eclipse in Aquarius video that's out there on YouTube. Okay. It's going to delete on Facebook after 30 days. All right. So those who coming in, if I did not catch you, hey, how you doing? Okay. Those over here in YouTube world, how you doing? Okay. So with Uranus here Uranus will soon be moving into Gemini, another touch of Mercury here because Mercury rules Gemini as well as Virgo. Okay, and so I really want to get into that in depth on its own video, and I'll do that because it's a generational planet. But it's also important, as far as what we could experience collectively as well as individually. So Gemini is ruled by Mercury. Virgo is ruled by Mercury. So this eclipse is ruled by Mercury retrograde. Okay. So you see the thread, right? Okay. So what that means is this Virgo South Node eclipse is really purifying the mind before a collective mental revolution occurs. Because Uranus and Gemini is going to disrupt communication, information systems, media, education, and how we process data. Now, Uranus is in Taurus right now. It's been disrupting earth, finances, food, all right? Self-worth, things of that nature, okay? But now it's going to be shifting into, I want to say April, okay? But before that disruption occurs, this detox, comes this detox, all right? So we'll get into that. Because you can't innovate clearly if your perception is just distorted by anxiety, right? So we're having to go through releasing, clearing that mental field through this lunar eclipse in Virgo, okay? So I'll do a full breakdown of Uranus and Gemini in a separate live, but this transit, does deserve its own time, okay? Now, as far as who is going to be most affected by this eclipse, the strongest, not everyone is going to experience this eclipse the same way, okay? The closer this eclipse hits your personal chart, the stronger the activation is, all right? So, mutable signs, definitely. And the mutable signs, 12 degrees, this eclipse is occurring at 12 degrees. So, if you have 12 degrees, okay, roughly I would say 4-degree orb before and after. So 8 degrees and 16 degrees, 8 to 16 degrees of Virgo, Pisces, Sagittarius, or Gemini. All right. You are directly activated. Okay. Now that includes your sun, moon, rising, Mercury, Venus, Mars, or your midheaven. Okay. Now, why mutable signs? Because Virgo and Pisces, they're mutable signs. Mutable energy represents transition, adjustment, and endings. Gemini and Sagittarius kind of completes that mutable cross. Okay. So if you are mutable dominated energy, this eclipse may feel like a turning point for you. Now, Earth signs, Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus, and water signs, Scorpio, Pisces, Cancers, okay? You may feel this earth-heavy charts, I would say, may feel this physically, all right? Through routine shifts, health awareness, okay? Changes in work structure. Those who have water-heavy charts may feel this emotionally through intuition, emotional purging, spiritual sensitivity, all right? Because and also those with some strong Mercury placements. So since Mercury rules Virgo and Mercury is a retrograde in Pisces, those with strong Mercury placements may feel mental fatigue, reprocessing conversations, revisiting past decisions, closure things, okay? Now, being affected doesn't mean something bad is going to happen. I just want you to know that. It just means something is completing, okay? In addition, that completion kind of creates space for those new things to come in, okay? Makes sense? So it's not a bad thing. It's a necessary course correction. That's what I call eclipses, course correction, okay? So if you're not heavily mutable and you don't have any planets near that degree, you may feel this, gently, through mood shifts, routine adjustments, or spiritual reflection, all right? Now, I want to get into this. Those who have their charts, they're not sure how to find this in your chart before you even start, I would say looking at this being 12 degrees and 55 minutes of Virgo, okay, it's really important, okay? If you're using, I am taught on the equal house system. I prefer using the equal house system, okay? So I would say get your degree, get your chart in equal house system. That way you'll know where exactly that's going to land. Some people may have that degree fall into another house, still in the zodiac, but it may fall into another house. So when I go into the rising signs and where this could potentially play out for you, your degree is going to matter, okay? Because, it just, I would say, everybody has a different natal chart. So everybody is probably not going to feel this. So I really suggest you guys look at this from your sun, your moon, your rising. Excuse me, Mercury, definitely, okay? Mars, Venus, okay? Now, if this eclipse, I would say, for an example, if your second house begins at 14 degrees Virgo, this eclipse is at 12 degrees Virgo, okay? So that's technically still in your first house, but close enough to influence second house themes too. So if you have them close like that houses, the degrees are close to two houses, take into consideration both houses, because you could experience some of that duality or that energy there. So just keep that in mind. Because I will say this, okay? What I'm doing is whole sign housing, predictive astrology, okay? And so your first house is your identity reset, okay? If it's your second house, your finances, your values. Your third house, your communication, siblings. And these are just simple topics, okay? Fourth house, home and family. Fifth house, creativity and romance. Sixth house, health and routines. Seventh house, partnerships, okay? Eighth house, shared resources, psychological depth. Ninth house, belief systems and travel, all right? 10th house is your career, your public image. 11th house is your friendships and your community. And your 12th house is your subconscious and your endings, all right? So look at where 12 degrees of Virgo falls in your chart, and that is where the release is happening, all right? So also, if you have planets at early Libra or late Leo, those early Libra or late Leo, those will feel this eclipse indirectly because eclipses ripple, all right? Okay. So I want to make sure that we know that. So how to work with this Virgo blood moon eclipse, okay? I would say awareness without integration doesn't create growth. This is not something that you really want to work with, okay? This is a South Node lunar eclipse in Virgo, okay? So it's opposing the Pisces stellium with Jupiter offering that emotional support, okay? So I would say what we can do, as far as literally do, is kind of slow the nervous system first. This eclipse is not really asking you to take a massive action. It's really asking you to regulate, okay? Virgo rules the nervous system, so practical work could look like cleaning physical space, in which I found myself doing that today, decluttering, simplifying routines, adjusting sleep, okay, detoxing the mental clutter, all right, reducing overstimulation and organizing what feels chaotic. You know what I'm saying? So release really doesn't mean dramatic endings at all. Sometimes it just means simplifying, okay? So reflect before reacting. We want to do that because Mercury's in retrograde. So with Mercury being in retrograde in Pisces, we do not want to rush decisions. We do not want to over-explain ourselves. We do not want to force clarity. Instead, what we want to do during this time that Mercury is in retrograde, want to journal, revisit old patterns, notice repeated conversations, observe emotional triggers, okay? And ask where your perception may be distorted, because this eclipse is about correcting thinking patterns before correcting your life, okay? It has to be something that happens here before it can go anywhere else, right? Okay. So you really don't want to force the energy because Mars is in Pisces. Mars just entered Pisces. So action right now, Mars is softer now. It's in Pisces, okay? So the energy may feel a little lower. And if you try to push aggressively, you will probably feel drained. So it's important that we take that into consideration. We need to work with waves. Move with clarity when clarity comes, I would say, okay? Rest when fatigue speaks. I have a lot of aggressive. Mars is on my rising sign, okay, which is my body, okay? So I have a lot of assertiveness, a lot of energy that builds up in me, and I have to move to exert it, okay? Because if I don't move around and exert that energy, it becomes internalized, and it could, really cause a problem, okay? A blow up of some sort. So you have to know when to chill out, okay? Not overexert yourself, okay? Because rest when you are, you definitely need to, I would say, when you feel fatigued, uh, physically, mentally exhausted, take a break, step back, okay? All right. So really, we need to get into this opposition, this Pisces opposition real quick. It's about surrendering, okay? This Pisces stellium that we have here in North Node in Pisces, Sun in Pisces, Mars in Pisces is really teaching us uh, trust. Virgo fixes, Pisces releases. So spiritually, this eclipse is saying, okay, where can you stop gripping? Where can you allow something to dissolve instead of correcting it? Okay. Now, embody this Nine of Pentacles right here. All right. I like this one because she has the evil eye on her dress. Those, if you can see, evil eye on her dress. Evil eye. Okay. So the Nine of Pentacles here. Okay. We really need to embody that. Okay. Yeah, Mercury is in my first house, so Mercury retrograde right now. I'll be tripping with my word play. I got a packed first house, so I can be tripping sometimes. But nonetheless, we want to stand in what is already stable. We want to appreciate what is functioning. Want to stop scanning for problems, where there are none. Okay. This energy is about refining, independence, not abandoning it, just refining it. Okay. So take advantage of Jupiter's support. All right. Lean into emotional safety. Talk to people that you trust, connect with family if it feels aligned. Process instead of suppress. That is important. Okay. Process instead of suppress, because that's where the build up, you don't get a chance to release. All right. So I would say this eclipse is not, about chaos. It's really about clearing mental noise so you can move forward more grounded. All right. So we're going to get into these rising signs. Now, if you notice this particular eclipse, I didn't go into ritual work. All right. I did that for the Neptune Saturn conjunction on the solar eclipse in Aquarius video. You don't really mess with eclipses too much, in my opinion. In my research, you don't do that because eclipses, they're out of your control. Okay. So a south node eclipse is what this is. It removes. Okay. These eclipses close chapters. Okay. You don't try to force manifestation during removal energy. All right. Mercury is in retrograde, so clarity is still forming. Ritual without clarity becomes control, a shadow side of Virgo, right? Mars is in Pisces, so the energy is fluid. It's not forceful. So forcing a ritual right now drains the nervous system, okay? So what is appropriate, if you want to do something that is aligned, I would say it would definitely be a digital detox, physical decluttering, nervous system reset, cleaning your workspace, letting something expire naturally. Virgo ritual is just practical. It's simple. All right. It's not dramatic. Okay. So instead of spell work, this eclipse favors writing down mental loops that you're ready to stop. What you stop thinking about. So write that down. Organizing one area of your life. Reviewing health routines. Important. Very important. Okay. Forgiving yourself for giving, over trying, being a perfectionist, you know. I have to do that, okay? So that's the ritual for Virgo. So when you do bigger work, I want us to know this, okay? When you do bigger work, if you're thinking manifestation of forward movement, all right, wait. You want to wait until, I will tell you, Mercury, definitely you want to wait until Mercury goes direct, okay? You want to wait until after this eclipse energy settles or under the next new moon, but I will wait until after this Mercury stations direct and a few weeks after this eclipse, all right, before you go into any ritual work for those of us who like to do that. Now, with that said, let's go ahead and get into the rising signs, okay? And then I'm going right into a closing and a collective closing and I'm gonna leave us with an affirmation, okay? So we're gonna start off with the first zodiac, okay? And that is Aries, okay? So I'm looking at this from an Aries rising perspective, but definitely if you are an Aries sun, moon, rising, you want to look at all of your big threes, at least your big threes, okay? So Aries, sun, moon, rising, okay, where this eclipse is going to fall for you, your sixth house. This is the house of work environment, daily routines, health, service, employees, co-workers, physical regulation, stress management, okay? The opposite of that is Pisces. That's your 12th house. Subconscious patterns, hidden stress, suppressed emotions, spiritual exhaustion, isolation, and rest cycles. So this is a 6th and 12th house axis activation for you Aries risings. Now, with this eclipse and the aspects here, the moon being in your 6th house is opposing the sun in your 12th house, Mercury retrograde in your 12th house, Venus in your 12th house, Mars in your 12th house. So that's really a lot of heavy 12th house energy for you Aries risings. What that means, what is surfacing, I would say think about what is surfacing in your work, okay, in your routines, in your health, okay, that's deeply tied to subconscious patterns. Mercury retrograde ruling your 6 means that you may be rethinking how to structure your day, reevaluating workload, revisiting health concerns, reprocessing workplace conversations. With Mars in your 12th house, your energy may feel lower, Aries. Motivation may feel internal. Hidden anger or fatigue may surface. All right. With Moon, Sextile, and Jupiter, that's in your 4th house. So that's about family support, emotional grounding at home, you know, an opportunity to create more security in your personal life. All right. What could play out from a broad perspective, okay? This could manifest for you, Aries, as a shift in work schedule, awareness of burnout, revisiting a health issue, ending a draining daily pattern, changing how you know, I would say serve others. All right? Need more rest, realizing that you've been over functioning. So this is not no automatic, you know, job loss or illness. It's just recalibration. So you want to pay attention to what is being, what you feeling, because the lunar, the full moon, you know, the lunar is the emotion, the feeling, right? The solar, what can be seen, okay, and done. So this is internal, okay? Now, Aries, what is asked of you right now spiritually is stop running on nervous tension, okay? From a practical Virgo perspective, adjust your system so that they support you instead of drain you. Release victim, you know, mentality. Release over service, Aries. Release the need to always be productive, okay? Now, your 9 of Pentacles integration, Aries, is for you sustainable independence. You may pride yourself on handling everything, managing work, handling stress, carrying responsibility quietly, okay? But the shadow here is hyper independence, the belief that you must carry it alone. This eclipse, Aries, may show you that true strength is not overworking, okay? It's actually structuring your life so it supports you, all right? So I would say you're going to build systems that give you peace. You don't prove your worth through exhaustion. You stand confidently in your routine without burning yourself out, Aries. Okay, so this eclipse for you is clearing exhaustion patterns so you can build some sustainable strength. All right. Now, I would also say, Aries, this eclipse could remove some anxiety so that you can embody the confidence that you need. Okay. Now, let's go to Taurus. Taurus, Sun, Moon, Risings. Where are you? Because this eclipse is going to fall in your fifth house. All right. So this is the house of creativity, romance, dating, pleasure, children, self-expression, joy, risk-taking, okay? And the opposition in Pisces is your 11th house, your friendships, your social circles, your networks, your community, okay? Your cliques, your soul tribe, your long-term goals, your group affiliations. So this is a 5th, 11th house axis activation for you, Taurus, all right? Personal joy versus collective involvement, perhaps, all right? Now, with this eclipse and these aspects here, all right, I want to get into that. With the moon being in the 5th house, that's opposing the sun in the 11th, Mercury retrograde in the 11th, Venus in the 11th, Mars in the 11th. So that's some heavy 11th house energy there. So that means to me that there could be some shifts in friendships, Taurus, group dynamics, or future goals that may directly affect your romantic or your creative life. Fifth house. All right. Now, with Mercury retrograde right now ruling your fifth house, you may be rethinking some romantic connections, revisiting past creative ideas, or reevaluating who you share joy with. With Venus being in your 11th house, there could be some softening within friendships. There could some compassion in social dynamics, perhaps Taurus closure or maybe reconnection themes that may play out. With Mars being in your 11th house, could be some possible tension, in group settings. Some motivation that, shifts regarding your future goals, or some energy fluctuations that are tied to social involvement here. Now, when the moon sextile Jupiter, that's going to occur in your third house, Taurus. All right. So that could be maybe support through conversations, healing discussions with siblings, maybe some emotional growth through communication. Okay. Now, what could play out, and these are broad themes, okay? This could manifest as maybe a shift in a romantic connection, reevaluating who you date, realizing certain friendships drain your creativity, a creative project being revised, a child related situation needing adjustment, or letting go of social expectations. This is not necessarily a breakup. This clarity is about alignment, okay? So spiritually, I would say you're being asked to ask yourself, maybe perhaps this is a question you may want to ask yourself. Are your friendships aligned with your authentic self-expression? Or you are in alignment with your long-term goals? Okay? Now, practically, you might want to stop performing for approval. You might want to release some social pressure that interferes with your joy. Or let creative expression kind of be personal and not performative, if you get my drift. All right, Taurus? So this Nine of Pentacles message for you is directly speaking to self-worth in romance and creativity, okay? So do you create because you love it or because you want validation? Do you date from abundance or from fear of missing out? Because the shadow could be isolating yourself in pride, okay? The mature way to handle this Nine of Pentacles energy is you enjoying your own company. All right. You creating because it fulfills you. You choosing connections that add, not deplete. Okay. Because this eclipse Taurus is going to refine your pleasure. Not by removing your joy, but by removing the misalignment in your joy. Okay? All right, Gemini, Sun, Moon, Risings, where are you? Okay, this is going to be taken off in your fourth house of Virgo. All right, this is the house of the home, the family, the private life, the emotional foundation, the living environment, your ancestry, your psychological roots. All right, and the opposition is going to activate your 10th house, Pisces, where that is your career, public image, reputation, authority figures, long-term professional direction, your visibility. All right. So this is a fourth house, 10th house axis activation for you. All right. Geminis. All right. So I would say that's your private life versus your public life, or your inner foundation. Yeah. Your inner foundation, I would say, versus your outer responsibility. Either way, 10th house, fourth house. Okay. So with the eclipse and these aspects that are in play, with the moon in your fourth house that's opposing the sun, Mercury retrograde, Venus, and Mars all in your 10th house, that's some strong career emphasis, perhaps, visibility. Okay. With Mercury retrograde ruling your fourth house, you may be rethinking career decisions that affect the home. You may be revisiting public responsibilities, reprocessing conversations with authority figures. Now, with Mars being in your 10th house, that's career energy that could be shifting, possibly public tension, motivation that fluctuates around ambition, okay? And then when you have Venus in your 10th house, that could be a softening of your reputation that matters to you. Okay. You could have some compassion in professional relationships. There could be some creative visibility things that play out. I mean, I've been interviewed by two creative, inspiring artists, websites, or magazines, I shall say. I've been requested to have a third interview, different leg of a magazine. And I'm just like, I'm just going with the flow, okay? So this is kind of a little bit of what I'm seeing here already play out. Now, going back to you, Gemini, when the moon sextile Jupiter, that's going to be in your second house here, all right? So that could be some financial awareness. That could be some, I would say, emotional security, tied to the income, or maybe perhaps opportunity for stability through grounded decisions that you may be making. Now, what could play out in a broader theme is this could manifest as career adjustments for you, realizing that your job impacts your emotional stability, home changes influenced by your job, your work, revisiting professional goals, family dynamics that are surfacing due to public pressure, or redefining what success means. Okay, because this is not going to, it's not going to create an automatic job loss or a relocation. It's just a readjustment or a recalibration of your foundation. Okay, so I would say what this energy is asking of you, Gemini, from a spiritual, perhaps, is your public life aligned with your emotional truth? Okay. You want to build from stability, not your image. Okay. Bottom up. Release the need to prove yourself publicly at the expense of peace, Gemini. Now, with this Nine of Pentacles here, for you to integrate this, all right, can you stand confidently in your achievements without overextending yourself, Gemini? Okay, because the shadow side of this is trying to maintain status, fear of slowing down, isolating yourself in ambition. Okay, now what you want to do is use this in its right energy, its light energy, its mature energy, I would say, and you define success on your terms, Gemini. You cultivate security at home so that your public life feels supported, not draining. All right. And this eclipse is going to refine your foundation so that your ambition has roots. Okay. So, Cancer, Sun, Moon, Risings. Oh, I'm glad. Okay. I wanted to do something. So, I'm going to go back. Aries, Taurus, Gemini. Okay. I have to give you your tune in message. This is something that I meant to do. Okay. So, let me get the message out. Spirit, tap into the energy of the collective Aries rising. Okay. I am so sorry, y'all. Aries, what is it that Aries needs to know, Spirit? Just one message. And these are themes, okay? This is my Ghetto Nun tarot deck. These are themes. But just check them out. Aries, Spirit, Aries. Thank you. Okay, so Aries. Pretty woman. Okay, pretty woman. Okay, so what this says is shop, live, okay, laugh, high vibes, rags to riches, sing, good-hearted, natural beauty, breaking toxic behavior. Okay, so that's the message for Aries. Okay, now let's see here. Let's do Taurus. Give me a message for Taurus, energy, spirit. Taurus. Okay, Taurus. Okay, so Taurus. Oh, shit. Okay, Nightmare on Elm Street. All right, so Taurus, this is your message. And the themes are bad dreams, razor sharp, subconscious fears, sleepless nights, child neglect, registered offender, burned and scarred, hellbound, and in your head. Damn. Okay, that's Nightmare on Elm Street, Taurus Risings. Okay, so let's go. Now, let's get into Gemini before I jump into Cancers, okay? Gemini. Gemini spirit. Give me the message for Gemini energy. Let's tune it in with the Ghetto Nun deck. Gemini. Gemini. What is it that Gemini needs to know, spirit? There we go. Okay. Gemini. Eminem. Okay. So Eminem is wordsmith. Oh my God, that is such a Gemini. Hello, my name is Unmatched, Empty Without Me, Blondie, Shady, I Just Don't Give Up, Outsider, and Anger. Bang. Okay, so this is the Gemini message. Woo-wee. Okay, so Cancer, Sun, Moon, Risings. Where you at? Where you at? Okay, this eclipse is going to take off in your Virgo house, which is your third house. That house is the house of communication, thinking patterns, daily interactions, siblings, neighbors, short travel, learning processes, mental habits, okay? Now, the opposition is Pisces, and that's going to activate your ninth house, and that is the house that is of belief systems, faith, higher education, long distance travel, publishing, spiritual philosophy. In addition to that, I would say broader world view. Okay. And so this is the third house, ninth house axis activation for you, Cancers. Okay. So this could be mind versus belief, facts versus faith. Okay. Daily thinking versus higher truth. Okay. Now with this eclipse and the aspects, okay, the moon is just in your third house. This eclipse is in your third house. So this is a Virgo full moon eclipse, lunar eclipse in your third house. And it's opposing the sun, Mercury retrograde, Venus and Mars in your ninth house. Strong ninth house influence, okay? So Mercury retrograde ruling your third house, you may be rethinking how you communicate, reevaluating beliefs you once held strongly, or revisiting educational or spiritual things. Okay, just to name a few things. With Mars being in your ninth house, there could be some energy shifting around travel or education, cancers, possible tension around belief differences, I'd say, or maybe some motivation toward growth. Motivation toward growth that fluctuates. In addition, I would say Venus being in your ninth house. Now, that could be some softening of your belief systems, especially have any rigid belief systems. Compassion in differing perspectives, okay? Creative or spiritual inspiration with Venus being in your ninth house. Now, when the moon sextile Jupiter, that's going to be in your first house, Cancers, okay? So that's personal, emotional expansion, opportunity for self growth, grounding, in your identity, all right? So this could play out and manifest as changing belief systems, revisiting spiritual practices, rethinking how you communicate. You could have some sibling conversations that resurface, okay? Or maybe some travel plans that may be revised. Or you could be learning something that alter your perspective. Either way, I would say this is not necessarily conflict. Okay, I would say this is like a shift in your perspective. Okay, definitely an adjustment, so to speak. So spiritually, I would say this eclipse could be potentially asking you, Cancers, are your daily thoughts aligned with your higher truth? And from a practical standpoint, you might want to release mental patterns that limit your growth. Let your worldview evolve. Okay. Now, for you, the Nine of Pentacles integration message is intellectual independence. Okay. Cancers, do you think for yourself, or do you inherit belief systems without questioning them? Okay. Because the shadow side, okay, may look like a defensiveness around beliefs, isolation due to differing views, or pride, in being right. Okay. So the right way to utilize this Nine of Pentacles energy, Cancers, you stand confidently in your truth without needing validation, because this eclipse could definitely refine your mind so that your faith feels grounded, not reactive. Okay? And so with that, Cancers, let's get your tune in, get on none deck. Okay, Cancers, Spirit, give me a card for Cancer. What does Cancer need to know? What does the Cancer energy need to know? I could do jumpers, but I'll be messing up my nails. Okay, Cancer. Okay. This is so Cancer. Okay. Lauren Hill. All right. Which it says, killing me softly, soul. Cancer. Okay. Meaningful, choir, Zion, miseducation, refugee, X Factor, everything is everything. Okay. So this is your message, Cancer. All right. Then Leo. Okay, Leo, Sun, Moon, Rising. Where are you? Because this eclipse will be taken off in your second house, that your Virgo house for you, Leo risings. Okay. This is the house, second house, the house of income, personal finances, self-worth, values, material security, resources, and stability. Now, the opposition, your Pisces house, is your eighth house. Ooh. Shared resources, debt, taxes, intimacy, psychological depth, as well as power dynamics and emotional entanglement. All right. Now, so this is a second and an eighth house axis activation for you, Leos. This could look like personal resources versus shared resources. Okay. Self worth versus dependency, security versus vulnerability. Okay. So when you look at the eclipse in these aspects, the moon being in your second house is opposing all this in your eighth house. Sun, Mercury retrograde, Venus, Mars, right? So you got some strong eighth house energy here. So Mercury retrograde ruling your second house, you may be rethinking financial arrangements, Leo. You may be revisiting agreements involving shared money. You may reevaluate what you value. Okay. Now, with all this eighth house, well, let me just say this: with Mars being in your eighth house here, there could be some emotional intensity around financial or intimate matters for you, Leo. Energy fluctuations that are tied to power dynamics or a desire to reclaim control. So. Anyway, Venus being in your eighth house, there could be softening in intimacy. There could be some compassion in shared financial matters, I'd say, or some closure or renegotiation themes. Okay. You can renegotiate potentially. Okay. Okay, Venus, right? Now, when we look at Moon sextile Jupiter for you, Leo, that's in your 12th house. So that could look like spiritual protection, hidden emotional support, or healing through solitude, okay, Leo? So I would say this eclipse could manifest as financial recalibration, revisiting shared financial agreements, shifting income sources, reassessing investments. I would say probably emotional clarity in intimate relationships. You could also recognize unhealthy dependency patterns as well. Okay, so this is not like a financial loss, so don't freak out. It's restructuring financially and emotionally. Okay, so spiritually, you're being asked probably, are you grounding your self worth in something stable? Practically, okay, you might want to release fear-based financial control, reclaim ownership over your values, Leo. You want to stop equating vulnerability with weakness, okay? Now, your integration Nine of Pentacles message for you, Leo, is literal, okay? This card speaks directly to financial independence and self-worth for you, Leo. So the shadow side of this energy for you, Leo, there could be this arrogance and pride, around money. There could be this refusal to accept help, Leos. There could be this over identifying yourself with material successes. The mature expression is you know your value, okay? You build security without isolating yourself. You share resources without losing power. This eclipse refines how you define stability. All right? Now, Leo. All right. Let's see here, Spirit. Give me a tune in message for Leo. Give me a tune in message for Leo. Okay, well, what's the message for Leo? Yeah, I haven't flipped cards in a while. Okay, I mean years. Leo. Come on now, Leo. This here is NWA, okay? Leo be getting the worst of it, okay? NWA. So we have Urban America, Ruthless, Tour, rap music, controversy, parental discretion, F da po po 12. Express yourself, challenges, and profanity. So you may go off, okay? You really need to just make sure that you adjust your attitude, okay? NWA. That's your message, Leo. Virgos, Sun, Moon, Rising. Where are you, Virgos? Let's get into this here, okay? Now, this is going to be taken off in your first house, Virgo Risings. This is your moon, your eclipse, I shall say, okay? So we know the first house is the house of your body, identity, your self-image, your personal vibe, your direction in life. I would also say, like I say, your body, your physical body parts, how others perceive you. Okay, that's your rising sign, your presence, right? So when you look at the opposite of the first house, the opposition, okay, Virgo house is your body, the first house, that's you, all right, or your rising. So first house, the opposite of that is your seventh house. So the opposition activates your house of partnerships, marriage, business relationships, contracts, open enemies, one-on-one dynamics, okay? 1-to-1. So this is a first and seventh house axis activation for you, and this could be self and other, identity and partnership, independence and cooperation, so you won't be alone on this one, okay? So when we look at this eclipse, Virgo, sun, moon, risings, this could, and the aspects that are at play with this moon being in your first house is opposing all of this energy in your seventh house where the sun is, Mercury retrograde, Mars, and Venus, okay? Now, that's some heavy partnership emphasis. So for you, Virgo risings, all right, this could look like with Mercury retrograde in your first house. Lord, have mercy. Okay, you are reevaluating yourself through relationship mirrors. Okay, you could potentially be revisiting conversations with partners, reassessing how you present yourself, to one-on-one dynamics. All right. And I would say the Mars being in the seventh house, there could be some possible tension in partnerships for you. Okay, maybe energy shifts, that occur in close relationships, Virgo, and maybe some assertiveness that's being tested, Mars. Okay, now Venus in their seventh house, there could be a little softening of relational boundaries. Okay. There could be some compassion or some forgiveness themes that occur, or some romantic recalibration. All right. Now, with the moon sextile and Jupiter in your 11th house, Virgo, you may receive support, from friends. You may have community buffering, emotional shifts. All right. You could have some opportunities that come through your networks, peers, mentors. All right. So, with that said, this could manifest as identity shifts, change in appearance or your health focus, relationship renegotiations, revisiting old partnership dynamics, redefining how you show up, or realizing that you're over adjusted, to others, or that you have over adjusted, to others, okay? This ain't no breakup or conflict type energy. This is really about your self-definition. Who are you? Okay? So, with that said, spiritually, you might be thinking about who are you when you're not accommodating others. Okay, Virgo? Okay. Now, I would say you might want to release perfectionism that's tied to approval. Stop shaping yourself to maintain harmony. Let relationships reflect your authentic self, not your anxiety. Okay? Now this is your card, Virgo. Okay? This is your card here. because Nine of Pentacles is powerful for you. This card is asking, can you stand confidently in your individuality? Okay. Now, the shadow side of this, Virgo, could be overcorrection of your image, self-criticism, okay? Hyper-independence masked as self-control. Critiquish, too damn critiquish, all right? This could also be, I would say, the mature way to use this energy, Virgos, okay? You embody quiet confidence. You don't need to prove your competence, okay? You refine, but you don't erase yourself, because this eclipse is going to clear identity patterns that were built from nervous tension, all right? So, Virgos, let me tune it in for you. Virgos, show me the Tune In Ghetto Nun deck. Card for you, Virgos. Spirit, what is the message for Virgos? Okay, Virgos. Okay, this is Nirvana. Okay, so I'll read the themes. It says, never mind, pressure, transcendent, come as you are. It smells like teen spirit, drugs, all apologies, strings, lonely, grunge. Okay, Nirvana. All right, I don't know if that's a movie or a song, but you might want to listen to it if you get, you might get some out of it. I don't know. But Nirvana is your card, Virgos, okay? Now, Libras, Libra, Sun, Moon, Risings, where are you? Okay, we're halfway through, so let's keep moving. Libras, this is going to take off in your Virgo house, which is your 12th house, okay? This is the house of the subconscious, hidden fears, isolation, rest, spiritual processing, private endings, self-undoing patterns, mental health, all right? Definitely. Your opposition to this is your 6th house. Okay, your 6th house here is your work, your daily routines, your health, your service, your physical regulation, coworkers, So your 12th, 6th house axis activation is occurring. So there could be some hidden patterns versus daily habits. There could be some subconscious tension versus physical stress for you, Libras, okay? But this eclipse and these aspects here with the moon being in your 12th house, opposing all this energy in your 6th house with the sun, Mercury retrograde, Venus, and Mars, that's strong work, health, emphasis there, all right? Mercury retrograde ruling your 12th house, you may be revisiting some subconscious fears, rethinking work habits, reprocessing mental exhaustion. With Mars being in your 6th house, Libras, you may have some energy fluctuations around work, some possible irritability in your daily routines or your daily interactions with others, okay? Or you have some body responding symptoms that occur because of stress, okay? Pay attention. Pay attention. With Venus being in your 6th house, I would say there could be some, softening of your work relationships, compassion in health routines, opportunity to bring more balance in your daily life. Okay, Libras. Now, when the moon sextile Jupiter, that's in your 10th house, career support, recognition through emotional maturity, opportunity for professional stability. Okay. Libras, Jupiter is blessing your 10th house right now. Okay. Depending on the degree. So those who know me already can tell some of what that looks like. I don't share everything, but some things I do put on public because it's in my 10th house. But nonetheless, this could play out for you, Libra. This could manifest as needing more rest, ending a draining routine. You could work, you may adjust your work responsibilities. Okay. Or you may notice that you're becoming more, you may notice when you become more like burned out, your energy is burning out. Okay. So that I think is really good, um, because you could, your body could be responding to stress. So pay attention to your body. Okay, Libras. So I would say in addition to that, you might want to definitely have some emotional patterns that surface privately. This 12th house here. Or you may recognize you have some self-sabotaging habits that you need to release. So this is not automatically crises talk, okay? It's internal recalibration of what needs to occur as it relates to your 12th and 6th house. All right. So, from a spiritual standpoint, I would say, are you over functioning to avoid sitting with yourself? You might want to create space for rest, Libras. You might want to release guilt around slowing down. You might want to adjust your daily habits that feed the anxiety. Okay. Now, the Nine of Pentacles integration for you, Libras. Okay. I would say is about your inner sovereignty. Now, if you're operating your shadow energy, the shadow energy of this card is avoiding vulnerability, isolating emotionally, pretending that you're fine, when you're exhausted. All right. The better way to, express this Nine of Pentacles energy, Libra, would be to, you know, build peace privately. Okay. You don't need constant validation. Allow yourself solitude that will strengthen you, not isolate you. Okay? Because this eclipse for you, Libras, could clear the mental clutter so that your daily life feels sustainable. I like that. Okay, I'm feeling it already as far as knowing when to step away. I go hard too much, overexerting when my body don't feel right. I know when to stop. Okay, so Libra, let's get your tune it in message from the Ghetto Nun. Libra, this fell out. Okay, no, I ain't taking none. Well, damn. Okay, Libra. Okay, Spirit, give me one message for Libra energy. What does Libra need to know from the tune in deck? Oh, that needs to come out. Okay. Now, I will take cards that fly out, but I ain't looking to flip them out. Oh, snap. Who had Nightmare on Elm Street? Libra. Damn. Libra. Libra. Okay. 12th house, 6th house. So this could be dreams. Okay. This could definitely be mental health for real. Okay. So Libras, you definitely want to make sure that you're taking care of your mental and physical faculties. Okay. Because we have bad dreams, razor sharp, subconscious fears. This is freaking the 12th house all day long for you, Libra. Sleepless nights, child neglect, registered offender, burned and scarred, hellbound, in your head, mental health. Take care of that. Damn, that hit. That hit. Okay, so that's for you, Libras. Now let's get to it. Let me take a sip real quick. Okay, Scorpio. Scorpio, sun, moon, risings, let's go, because this eclipse is going to hit your Virgo house, which is your 11th house. And that house is the house of friendships, social networks, okay, community, long-term goals, your aspirations. In addition to that, your collaborations and your, I would say, group affiliations, okay, your peoples. All right, now it's opposing Pisces house, which is going to be your 5th house, okay? That house is the house of romance, creativity, pleasure, self-expression, children, passion projects, okay? So I would say this is an 11th and 5th house axis activation for you, Scorpio. Now, this could be community versus individuality, group goals versus your personal joy, friendship versus romance. All right, those are some things that could play out. Now, this eclipse and these aspects that are occurring with the moon being in your 11th house is opposing all of this energy in your 5th house, the sun, Mercury retrograde, Venus, and Mars. Okay, so you got some strong 5th house emphasis here, Scorpio. Now, with Mercury retrograde being in your 11th house, you may be rethinking friendships, reevaluating group involvement, revisiting old creative ideals or romantic themes that are tied to social circles. Okay, with Mars being in your 5th house, you could have some passion that is fluctuating, tension in romance, okay, creative energy that come in waves. With Venus being in your 5th house, there is potentially a softening that occurs in romantic matters. There could be some compassion in creative expression or perhaps some healing through joy. All right. And so, Scorpio, when the moon sextile Jupiter, that's going to be in your 9th house. So, there could be some growth that occurs through travel, learning, or spiritual expansion. Okay. In addition to that, there could be some support from a broader perspective that shifts. Okay. Now, this could manifest for you, Scorpios, okay, as I would say, shifts in friendships, reassessing long term goals, romantic clarity, letting go of social expectations, revisiting creative projects, recognizing misalignment between who you are and who you socialize with. Okay, so this don't really just mean that you might lose a friend. You're going to lose those who are not in alignment with you. Okay, so this is a recalibration of alignment for you. All right, Scorpio. So I would say, from a spiritual perspective, you might want to ask yourself, are your goals aligned with your authentic joy? Okay. And the practical Virgo steps that you could take, Scorpio, could be probably releasing group dynamics that, suppress your identity. Or maybe you might want to stop shrinking your creativity to maintain social approval. Okay. Now, the Nine of Pentacles integration for you message, Scorpio, here is about your social independence. Okay. So, in the shadow side of this energy could look like withdrawing completely from the community, pride and not needing anyone, isolation that's disguised as empowerment. Okay. No, the way you want to use this is you want to participate from choice, not obligation. Okay. I don't need you. I want you. Okay. I mean, that's another way to look at it. But I mean, you may, I would say, enjoy friendships that respect your individuality. You might want to cultivate goals that feel personally fulfilling, okay? Because this eclipse could refine your community so that it aligns with your authentic self-expression so you don't have to, hide who you really are, okay? Now, the tuning in message from you from the Ghetto 9, Scorpio, Scorpio, Scorpio. What is the message, Spirit, for Scorpio? Oh, Scorpio. That's more than one. Okay, Scorpio. Okay, so your card is Friday. Today, Friday. Okay. The movie, Friday. Okay, that's your card, Scorpio. All right. So this is about THC, Damn. Fired. Mm. Okay. Friday after next, days, weeks, neighbors, Mary Jane, lazy, hang out. Okay. So you might not want to hang out with your friends. They may be toxic. You might realize that. Okay. But Friday is your message. Okay. So hopefully it'll resonate when these things start shifting. All right. So with that said, let's get into Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, Rising. Okay. I want to make sure I haven't missed anybody. Okay. Sun, Moon, Rising. Let's see. Okay. So Sun, Moon, Rising. Make sure. Okay. Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, Rising, where are you? Because this lunar eclipse in Virgo, your Virgo house is your 10th house. So this is the house of career, public reputation, authority, visibility, okay? Long-term ambition, leadership, as well as professional structure. And so the opposite axis, the opposite end of this axis is Pisces, and that is in your fourth house, okay? And that is home, family, emotional foundation, living environment, private life, your ancestral roots. So this is a 10th house, fourth house axis activation. For you, Sagittarius, this could be your public life versus your private life, your career versus your home, or authority versus emotional security. Okay. Now, with this eclipse and these aspects for you, Sagittarius, the moon is in your 10th house. This eclipse is going to take off in your 10th house, but it's opposing all of this energy in your fourth house, the sun, Mercury retrograde, Venus, and Mars. So you got some strong fourth house emphasis going on, Sagittarius. All right. And so with Mercury retrograde ruling your 10th house, you may be rethinking career direction, revisiting professional decisions, reprocessing conversations that are tied to authority, perhaps. Just a few things, okay? When I tell you the house, you already, should know what's in the 10th house, okay? Those are the themes that are there. So I'm just giving you broader ideas of how this could play out. Now, Mars being in your fourth house, Sagittarius, there could be some energy shifts within the home. Possible tension in family dynamics or some emotional motivation that fluctuates. I always get the allergies. Oh my gosh, it never stops. I gotta sneeze. Oh, okay. Now with Venus, Sagittarius, with Venus being in your fourth house, there could be a little warming up in private relationships, a little compassion in family matters, healing definitely in the home environment that could occur for you, Sagittarius. And with the moon sextiling Jupiter in Cancer, that's going to be in your 8th house. So there could be some emotional growth that occur through vulnerability, some support in shared resources, or some psychological expansion or enlightenment, okay? And this could manifest for you, Sagittarius, as career adjustments, public roles that shift, balancing your work and your home, okay? Revisiting professional identity, having family conversations that could influence your ambition. You also could be reconsidering what success means. Okay, Sagittarius. So this is, of course, don't worry, this is not about like job loss, okay? It's about recalibration of the direction, okay? So whatever is taken, removed, let go of, it's because it doesn't serve your highest purpose. Just always remember that when we're dealing with ecliptic energy. Course correction. So spiritually, you might want to ask yourself, Sagittarius, is your public image aligned with your emotional truth? Okay, now you might want to release some career paths that were built, I guess, from pressure instead of purpose, Sagittarius. Or you might want to build some ambition on emotional stability, not escaping it. Now, to integrate this Nine of Pentacles message for you, Yeah, give me a minute here. I'm telling you, I feel like I gotta sneeze. Okay, so for you Sagittarius, this Nine of Pentacles speaks to just professional independence, okay? Now, the shadow side may look like over-identifying with status, isolating in ambition. You could be refusing support as well, all right? This is shadow side of this. Now, the best way to use this, the mature version, is you lead from grounded confidence, okay? You build a public life that reflects inner security. You don't sacrifice your emotional peace for visibility, okay? Because this eclipse is going to refine your ambition so it stands on stable, solid ground, all right? Sagittarius. So let me get your message here. Sagittarius. What is the tune it in message for Sagittarius? Okay, Sagittarius. Beyonce crowned. Okay, let me show you. Sagittarius. Okay, this is your message, Beyonce. Crowned. The Misses, Stamina, Destiny, Halo, Honey, Exclusive, Fierce, House B, The Hive, Babies, Beauty, Blue, Twins. Okay? All right, come on now, Sagittarius. I like. Okay? Did I miss something? Hi, cuz. How you doing? Okay, so now we're going to Capricorn risings. Capricorn, Sun, Moon, risings. Where are you? Because this lunar eclipse in Virgo is going to be taken off in your ninth house. So this is the house of belief systems, faith, higher education, publishing, advertising, okay, travel, philosophy, spiritual world view, and legalities, legal matters, okay? It's opposing and activating your Pisces house, which is your third house, ninth house, third house activation for you. And so this house is the house of communication, daily thinking, siblings, contract, short travel, and learning processes. So ninth, third house axis activation, all right? And so this could be belief versus logic. This could be big picture versus daily details. This could be facts versus faith. Okay. Now, when we look at this eclipse and the aspects with the moon being in your ninth house, okay, Capricorn, with the moon being in your ninth house here. Okay. That's opposing all of this energy that's in your third house. Okay. The sun, Mercury retrograde, Mars, and Venus. All right. So you got a lot of third house action going on at the moment of the eclipse. Okay. You could already be feeling it because it does we're in the energy. Okay. So I would say with this Mercury retrograde ruling your ninth house, you may be rethinking long held beliefs, revisiting educational or travel plans, Capricorn. You may be reevaluating what truth means to you. Now, with Mars being in your third house, there could be some sharp communication, okay, some compassion in sibling or neighbor relationships, some creative communication themes for you. Um, I would say that's Venus. When you look at the creative communication themes and the compassion in the sibling and neighbors, okay. But more so, Mars being in your third house, you want to be careful because that could have uh mental energy that fluctuates. Okay, you could be short with your words. Also, could be some possible tension, in conversation. So you want to be careful with Mars being in that third house on this, just during this ecliptic window. Now, with Venus, okay, there could be a softening in dialogue, like I mentioned, creative themes, communication around creative themes, and possibly neighbors and siblings, compassion and that communication with those type of relationships. Now, when the moon sextile Jupiter, that's going to occur in your seventh house, Capricorn. So that could give you support from partnerships. Okay. There could be some growth through collaboration or perhaps some emotional expansion and one-on-one connections for you, Capricorn. So this eclipse could manifest as, I would say, changing belief systems, revisiting spiritual practices, rethinking educational paths, adjusting travel plans. And I already know two Capricorns that are doing that right now. Okay. Conversations that reshape your perspective, or there could be some legal or contractual revisions that need to be made. So this is not necessarily conflict. I would say this is a perspective shift for you, Capricorn. Okay. So I would say spiritually, you might want to ask yourself, are your beliefs aligned with your lived experience? Okay. Now, I would say you might want to let your worldview evolve. You might want to communicate truth without rigidity. All right. Now, to integrate this Nine of Pentacles energy, Capricorns, I would say this is about intellectual sovereignty. Okay. Now, I would say the shadow side of this Nine of Pentacles for you, Capricorn, this could be pride in being right, emotional distance masked as logic, or maybe isolating yourselves in your belief. All right. But you want to use the best way, the mature expression of this energy, and you stand confidently in your perspective while remaining open, okay? You cultivate wisdom through lived experience, not stubbornness. Because this eclipse definitely could refine your philosophy so it supports your growth and not limit your growth, okay? That's important. So Capricorns, what's the message? What's the message for Capricorns? Capricorn spirit. Okay. Capricorns. You got Eminem like Gemini. I think, yeah, Gemini got the Eminem. Okay. So this could be wordsmiths. Like I say, this your third house. Watch your mouth. Okay. Watch your mouth. Watch your words. Okay. Unmatched, empty without me, blondie, I just don't give a anger, shady, outsider, bang. Watch your mouth, Capricorns. All right. I'm going to just let y'all know that right now. I feel it heavy. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and go to Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Risings. Aquarius, where are you? Because this is going to be activating this eclipse, lunar eclipse is going to be activating your 8th house, your Virgo house. Okay. That's your 8th house. Ooh, house of shared finances, debts, taxes, investments, intimacy, psychological depth, power dynamics, emotional entanglements, as well as transformation. All right. Now, the opposing house for you is going to be your second house, the Pisces house. Okay. And we know that house is personal income, self worth, values, material stability, as well as resources. Okay. So this is the 8th house, second house axis activation for you, Aquarius. So I would say this could look like shared versus personal energy, dependency versus autonomy. Okay, vulnerability versus security. So with this eclipse and these aspects, this moon is going to be in your 8th house, which is opposing all of this energy in your second house. The sun, Mercury retrograde, Venus and Mars. So you got some strong second house energy that's going on here. And so with Mercury retrograde ruling your 8th house, you may be rethinking financial agreements, revisiting shared resource arrangements, reprocessing psychological patterns that are tied to security. Okay. Now, with Mars being in your second house, there could be some fluctuating drive around money, some possible frustration regarding your income, or a desire to reclaim control over your personal resources. All right. Now, with Venus being in your second house, Aquarius, that could be just, a softening when it comes to matters of finances for you. You could really reevaluate what you value, what you really truly value during this time. You could have some compassion, I would say, toward stability, toward yourself as it relates to stability. Yeah, yeah. Oh, God, sneeze. Ooh, I'm sorry, y'all. Allergies on 10. Okay, now, as far as the moon sextile in Jupiter for you, Aquarius, okay, this is going to be in your sixth house. So you could get some support through work adjustments. You can get an opportunity to stabilize through daily habits. There could be some growth through disciplined routine. Okay. Now, this could manifest, all of this could manifest for you in ways perhaps you revisit financial agreements, adjust shared expenses, psychological clarity around intimacy. There could be some recognizing of dependency patterns that occur. There could be some shifts in the focus of your income focus. Mm, yeah, definitely. This is security too, so you might have some emotional conversations around security, but some deep emotional conversations. Okay, now I wouldn't say this is financial loss or a relational type of chaotic crises or anything. No, this is really what I would call a recalibration of your power and your stability, Aquarius. All right. So, spiritually, you might want to ask, where are you outsourcing your sense of security? Okay. And you might want to release fear based control over shared resources or build self worth from personal stability, not entanglement. Okay. Now, integration of the Nine of Pentacles for you, Aquarius, is all about, it's just really direct, okay? It's your emotional independence. So, the shadow side, Aquarius, this may look like refusing vulnerability, guarding resources too tightly, pride around not needing support. Okay, the best way you want to use this, Aquarius, the mature way that you want to use this is know that you share from strength, not from fear. You cultivate personal security first. Okay, this eclipse is going to refine how you balance intimacy with autonomy. Autonomy. All right. So, Aquarius, what's the message? Let's tune it in for you, Aquarius. What's the message? Okay, so Aquarius, we have NWA. Wow. Again, I don't know what sign got that, but this is it, Aquarius, NWA. Okay. So this is Urban America, Ruthless, Tour, Rap Music, Controversy, Parental Discretion, um, F the 12, the Popo, Express Yourself, Challenges and Profanity. NWA. Okay, Aquarius. All right. Let's go to Pisces. Pisces, Sun, Moon, Rising. Okay, we are finally here. All right. Now, this eclipse, lunar eclipse in Virgo, is going to be in your seventh house, Pisces. All right. So, the seventh house we know is the house of partnerships, marriage, business contracts, one to one dynamics, agreements, your open enemies, okay? Long term commitments as well. Now, the opposite of that Pisces, okay, is your first house because Pisces and Virgo, right? So this is your identity, your physical body, your personal direction, your vibe, okay, your self-image, your autonomy. So this is seventh house, first house axis activation for you, Pisces. So this could be about relationships versus yourself, compromise versus individuality, commitment versus identity. Now, with this eclipse and these aspects, with the moon being the eclipse occurring in your seventh house, that's opposing all of this first house energy where the sun is, Mercury retrograde, Venus, Mars. So you got a lot of first house emphasis here, okay? So with Mercury retrograde ruling your seventh house, you may be rethinking how you show up in relationships now, Pisces. You may be revisiting past conversations. You may be reprocessing identity within partnerships, okay? Now, with Mars being in your first house, that could be some energy shifting in how you assert yourself. You might have some possible irritability that occurs, but there is this desire to reclaim your independence. Okay, Pisces? Now, with Venus being in your first house, you may have a softening of the perception of yourself. Okay. There could be some heightened attractiveness or some magnetism that occurs. There could be some compassion, towards yourself. Okay. That's Venus in your first house. That's you loving up on you. Okay. Now, when the moon sextile Jupiter, that's occurring in your fifth house. Now, there could be some support that you get through joy. You might have some emotional growth through creativity, self-expression, or healing through authentic self-expression, I'd say. But this could manifest for you, Pisces, as relationship recalibration, revisiting old partnership themes, redefining personal boundaries, and shifting how you assert yourself. Okay? Or I would say, not only that, recognizing where you overmerged your energy. And also, you might want to clarify commitment structures because this ain't no breakup energy. This is balance correction, okay? Wow. Now, spiritually, you might want to ask yourself, who are you outside of your relationships? Okay, Pisces? Who are you outside of your relationships? In addition to that, I would say release self-sacrifice that erodes your identity. Okay, stand firm without losing compassion. All right. Now, the embodiment of the Nine of Pentacles energy for you, Pisces, is all about your identity sovereignty. Okay. So this shadow side is the side that you do not want to embody. Okay. That's the dark side, the shadow side. So that shadow side could look like you losing yourself in partnership, avoiding independence, or fear of standing alone. Okay. But the message here for you, Pisces, is about you bringing fullness into relationships. You could still be in a relationship and have a sense of autonomy and independence about yourself in that relationship, okay? You don't merge to survive, Pisces. You stand grounded in who you are because this eclipse could refine how you relate without dissolving yourself. All right, Pisces? So let's get your message. Let's tune it in. Pisces, what's the message for Pisces spirit? Okay, Pisces. Oh, damn. The Obamas. Okay. Where are they now? We need them. Okay, anyway, the Obamas, the neck and the head. Pisces. Listen to this. Emperor. Upscale. His and hers. soulmates, connection, empress, my ride or die, family values, and spousal support. This is deep. Okay? So, this is about relationships and partnerships. Okay? You're going to be that power couple, Pisces. And that was pretty deep right there. Okay? Anyway, let's go ahead and close it out. Okay? All I want to say, y'all, I appreciate y'all being here with me. You guys know how to reach me for services, astrology, tarot, okay? Practitioner, I do energy work as well. Just depends on what that is, depends on, if I'll indulge. But nonetheless, you guys know how to reach me, okay? I'll have the video uploaded on YouTube, timestamped. Give me a day or two to get the timestamps and everything aligned, okay? I appreciate you all being here with me. I want to go ahead and give us a closing message because I want us to know that eclipses are not punishments. I will tell you there have been some interesting things that have occurred with me, okay, during eclipses, okay? And it wasn't until I started getting into astrology that I realized that, okay, it's a course correction. And an example of what that looked like, one of them, I would say, is I was at a job for 9 years, okay? Literally at a job for 9 years. And I was doing awesome as far as career was concerned, all right? But I knew that I wasn't living. I wasn't enjoying my personal life because I was working so much, making good money, but I knew that I was not, there was no work-life balance for me. But, I knew I needed to move on. But the eclipse came and I got fired, okay? And I mean, that really, really messed me up because it was a bogus fire. Bogus, okay? But it wasn't until after the eclipse had taken place that I realized that Most High removed me from a situation that was not serving my highest purpose. I didn't want to let go of it, okay? But what was on the other side of that was so much more beautiful and stress-free, okay? So you got to wait until both eclipses occur to actually sit back and see, what was eclipsed in, what was eclipsed out. That way you can get a good understanding of the course correction that occurred within your world, okay? So eclipses are not punishments. They are turning points. With the Virgo South Node lunar eclipse, okay, that's going to be clearing some nervous tension, some outdated routines and mental patterns that no longer serve us, all right? It is also refining independence, that Nine of Pentacles. It's softening control. It is teaching surrender without collapsing, okay? We got to trust. So we're not losing stability. It's just being purified. All right. So with that said, I'm going to leave us with an affirmation. Okay. I release what no longer supports my peace. I regulate my mind and my body with intention. I stand confidently in what I have cultivated, and I trust that clarity follows surrender. Ground yourself, move slowly, and let what is finished finish. Okay? That is the message here. Now, as above, so below, as within, so without, so mote it be, so it is so. Ashe, ashe, and ashe. Love y'all, and I'll see y'all next too. Love you, cuz, okay? We'll talk soon, okay? I'll have everything uploaded to YouTube shortly. Love y'all. Bye. I don't know. I'm learning how to get out of here. There we go.